So, hello, Virgo, and those of you with strong Virgo placements in your charts. Welcome back to Nicole Myths. This is your forecast for the 2022 year. I'm doing a month-to-month breakdown for each one. Timestamps will be in the description. I'm using my Patch Tarot to pull milestone energies for each month and then getting some clarity for you, insights with my Chakra Wisdom Tarot. All right, starting off the year in January, your milestone card is the Child, which is the Fool card in this particular deck. The duality of the card is possibilities versus distractions. It comes out with the Three of Wands, the Nine of Swords in the reverse, and the Eight of Swords. So possibilities versus distractions. Are you a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of person? Because if you're a glass half empty kind of person, you are going to be dealing with a lot of mental distractions, a lot of thoughts that are just unnecessary, right? Thoughts that are unnecessary. Thinking about all the possibilities will serve you better, okay? The positive possibilities, that is. Unknowns are okay. Things that are not completely perfect are okay. There is no reason to cause yourself anxiety over a lot of stuff. The Three of Wands is an indicator that you are, in fact, on a new journey. You are moving forward in a new direction. Nine of Swords in the reverse, you are leaving a lot of anxiety over other things behind, a lot of stress or nightmare worst case scenarios behind. The issue that you have the biggest deal with in January is the Eight of Swords, which is looking at your own mirror and how you mentally trap yourself, right? There is a shadow to Virgo that can dip into the realm of neurotic, when it comes to perfecting things and making sure that everything is exactly the way that you wanted it, and becoming OCD about every little thing, and an over criticism of the self. So keep that in mind in January, to not be so hypercritical. It's okay if you're moving into a new energy and there's things that are still left either a little flawed, a little undone, a little incomplete, because you will always have time at some point to rectify anything that absolutely needs rectifying, anything that needs fixing. You will have time to do that in divine time. Like, it doesn't all have to be done yesterday, and some of it doesn't need to be done at all. It's just you having a habit of being very difficult on yourself. So for January, stay positive, be optimistic, know that there is nothing detrimental that is going to get by you, and that anything that's left not quite up to your standards or your expectations doesn't mean it's not good enough. Just because it's not perfect doesn't mean it's not good enough, and that includes you. That includes you, Virgo. Just because you're not perfect doesn't mean you're not good enough. Just because other people aren't perfect doesn't mean they're not still good enough, So take a break, let your mind chill, because there's definitely a temptation to get stuck in a mental whirlwind with all of these swords. Universe, spirit has you moving forward into whatever path you're heading. You have a lot, I feel, to look forward to. It's just a matter of focusing on what you have to look forward to instead of focusing on what is potentially being left behind, whether it's a person, place, thing, or yourself, right? An old version of yourself into a new version of yourself. Like, it's okay to relax. Everything that needs to get done will always get done. And that includes self-work. So January, Focus on the positive. Glass half full. In February, we have the Passion card as your milestone. The duality of this card is strength versus weakness. It comes out with the Chariot, the Nine of Cups, and the Queen of Swords. For the month of February, when we talk about strength versus weakness, it's a matter of not letting your shadows or the pain or hurt of others get the better of you and cause you to project pain back at them, or to be distracted by their drama, and holding your own and staying focused on the task at hand and what you need to get done, focusing on your own creative energy, your own passions. If you love to organize, this would be a great time to do that and not let other distractions around you keep you from getting done what you need to get done. Not allowing yourself to come off task because you have almost like a to-do list, and that needs to be your focus, including making sure that if you are not happy with something, that it is in fact your job to fix it or correct it, not someone else's. Okay, if it bothers you, then you fix it. If it's not bothering someone else, it's not bothering someone else. It's not their problem. It's officially your problem. You're the one that has a problem with it. Okay? So whatever you need to get done, get it done if it's bothering you. If you're taking on too much of other people's stuff that you don't have time to deal with your own problems that you would need to call on other people, that's your cue to stop taking on the load of other people, so that you don't have to worry about time and or energy for your own issues. Okay? The Chariot, the Nine of Cups, and the Queen of Swords are actually some really great cards. You may, in fact, be moving and or traveling in February. Chariot is a card of movement. It's also a card of divine intervention and or miracle, which means the universe tends to do you a solid, getting you in the right direction. The Nine of Cups is also a wish granted. So not only is there movement on your behalf, but something that you prayed for or wished for or intended to create shows up for you in February. The Queen of Swords is about the truth in your heart space, the reason why you do things on a heart level, coming into balance. You know, whatever you've been putting your efforts in towards and focusing on is absolutely going to feel rewarding. It's going to feel like the efforts that you put in were worth it, right? February, overall, I think you will be focusing more on yourself and what you need to get done. I think the truth of the reality is, if other people have their problems and their issues and they're looking to Virgo to get it done right, because Virgo is meticulous with getting things done right, I think that you're taking that energy and putting it into your own self and your own reality. Like, you have you to focus on and your world to focus on. I don't really see or feel you being distracted too much. And I don't feel that you're frustrated with other people so much as you're exuding very healthy boundaries with people in February. For March, we have the Moon as your milestone energy. The duality is introspection versus lunacy. It comes out with the Emperor, the Knight of Wands in reverse, and the Princess of Swords. So Virgo, if you are doing a very good job of keeping your shit together despite things annoying the shit out of you potentially in the previous 2 months, you may have a moment in March where you essentially pop a top and lose your shit. It is Pisces season predominantly in March, which is your polar opposite sign. So there may be Challenges for you dealing with fantastical expectations that either you hold on yourself and or others. Introspection means you have a fine path. If you look at this card, there is a straight, narrow path to where you're going in order to succeed with the self. And it is very easily to stray off that path and feel like you're getting eaten alive by experiences, that you would feel like life is a joke, or that people are looking at you like you're a joke. Like, it could be very easy for you to fall off the ship and feel like you're drowning. So be patient with people, yourself included, in March. And trust that it's okay to be more realistic with your expectations of what can be done. If a lot of things are up in the air and unknown for you in March, please don't freak out because you don't know what's going to happen before it happens. I know that sometimes that could absolutely get under Virgo's skin, having question marks in the forecast, because question marks completely wig them out and freak them out. They would much rather know what is coming, when it's coming, how it's coming, for how long it's going to be there. Like, they want to know down to the detail, plans, everything. So if there are things beyond your control in March, have some compassion for yourself and the people that you love around you, because they don't deserve you to fly off the handle at them because you have a hard time or difficult time dealing with things beyond your control. The Emperor with the Knight of Wands reverse and the Princess of Swords, you could definitely dip into the archetypal energy of the tyrant, where you're completely irrational and potentially lashing out, especially on social media with the Princess of Swords, or via text message, like more informal forms of communication. You honest to God, Virgo, might lose your shit. So if you know this in advance, this is the beauty of readings like this. The cards don't tell you things beyond your control. If you know that there are things that are going to happen that are going to trigger you, you can be self-aware and remind yourself to breathe, and that it's okay, because any answers you need, you will get. Okay? And if you can't get an answer today, it's because you're meant to get it at another time, and that's fine. If you have to make an extra step or do a little more in order to make sure that you feel good about what's unknown and prepare, you know what I mean, then prepare yourself for multiple possibilities, knowing that you won't actually need to worry no matter what the outcome is. And even if you prepare for so many possible scenarios, and it ends up being a completely different scenario that you didn't expect, like, it's okay. Just because you didn't prepare in advance doesn't mean you aren't actually prepared to handle it. Please, I keep feeling like I have to remind you, please don't take it out on people that don't deserve it. Just because you might be feeling crazy or feeling like you're drowning or you're overwhelmed doesn't mean that you have the right to lash out at other people. They're just being themselves and doing the best they can to their capability and not freaking out about every little thing. They're okay with question marks. They trust that they will get answers. It is not your job to freak them out or freak out at them because of question marks that you have an issue with. Like I said, if you have an issue, it's your issue. It's not theirs. If you need help and they are able, they will help you. If they can't help you and you can't get it done or help yourself, then you've got to trust spirit that either it, one, does not need to get done, or you absolutely do not need to stress about it because spirit has it under control. Spirit has everything under control that you don't. I'm going to repeat that. Spirit has everything under control that you don't. So in March, you may absolutely be tempted to freak out and explode. Try and refrain and breathe instead. Meditate and remind yourself it's okay, because Spirit's got your back, right? The universe has your back. You're doing the best you can, and you can only do your best. You can't do better than your best. Your best is your best, and that's good enough. Everybody else is also doing the best they can. Their best is their best, and that is good enough. Spirit is also doing its best, and its best is good enough. Okay? So, March, if you need time to relax, no matter how much you have on your to-do list, please take time to relax. Please take time to unwind yourself so that you are not feeling so much inner tension and pressure. Like, everything can wait so that Virgo can take an hour to just relax and take a bath with some oils and some salts and a candle. Like, you can chill. You could take a moment to chill and recenter. You will feel better when you do, because you will be clear on what your next step is and take things one step at a time instead of focusing on all the different things. Make a list of everything that is within your control that you know, and the things that you still need answers to, and know that you already have so many answers and can feel good about that, and everything else you will start to get answers for, and you can start to check them off. As Spirit gives you an answer, reality gives you an answer or a path, you can check it off and be like, okay, I understand. Okay, I know what I'm doing. Okay, this is clear now. And you can start to feel good as things get crossed off. Okay, but give yourself time to release the tension. If you need to have intimate relations with a partner to de-stress, like, don't let your stress kill your sex drive. You know what I mean? Like, you might want to work it out in the bedroom. Okay? Like, don't take it out on your partner if you're with someone, especially your partner. Just chill for March, best you can. For April, we get the Emperor, whose duality is structure versus tyranny, with the Hanged Woman, the Queen of Coins, and the Six of Cups clarified by the Moon. Now, April is a month where it is ruled by both Piscean and Arian energy. And we've got a lot of Piscean cards, especially all of the clarifying cards minus the Queen of Coin are Piscean, the Six of Cups, the Moon, and the Hanged Woman, and the Emperor is Aries energy. So there's definitely a lot of astrological things going on that are potentially triggering up deep subconscious things for you to heal. The structure versus tyranny duality is how much you can control yourself versus lashing out and trying to control other people. It's like, do people look at you as strong and a good leader or a good partner because you are considerate and compassionate and merciful? Or are people afraid of you because you rule with an iron fist? And which one would you prefer, to be loved or feared? Your actions dictate whether or not people respond to you because you're loving and help you because you're loving, or they respond to you and help you because they're afraid of you. So, the Hanged Woman is about getting in touch with heart over head decisions. Like, if someone makes a mistake, the logical thing that Virgo might go to is freaking out at them, correcting them, lecturing them, teaching them how to do it right. When the heart decision would be to have compassion, They didn't know, or they were rushed or dealing with other things. They didn't intend to fuck up, and show mercy, right? And show mercy. Like, everybody makes mistakes sometimes. Everybody deals with their own troubles, their own energy drains, their own reality, right? Everybody has their own job or their own concerns that they get consumed with, and maybe they weren't focusing like they coulda, shoulda, woulda on a task, and something was forgotten or mistaked or whatever. It's okay. Like, boo-boos happen, boo-boos can heal, it's fine. Queen of Coins is about knowing what you want in the reality, knowing that you want your reality to look a certain way, that you want to have certain things, right? It's an expectation or idealization of what your reality is supposed to be, that you would desire it to be, and feeling deserving of what you want, right? For all of the efforts that you put in, you feel like you deserve certain results. A soulmate, a deep connected soulmate, whether they are your partner or someone in family, may, honest to God, be dredging up some serious familial wounds, with the card, the moon, coming back out to clarify the Six of Cups. You may be triggered via a partner or deeply connected soulmate to remembering things that you didn't like from your childhood. For example, maybe your father was exceptionally lax and lazy sometimes when things needed to get done around the house, and your mother was bitching and complaining because, things weren't getting done, and he was fucking off, doing bullshit wherever. And maybe you feel like there's all these things that need to get done, and you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off because all these things need to get done, and your partner is fucking off, and it triggers the shit out of you, right? When all maybe you needed to do was ask if they have time to help you. And the answer might be like, sure, no problem, they can absolutely do it, but you might be tempted with the tyranny duality to start that argument on, I shouldn't have to tell you. Like, you see this has to get done. Like, if you don't do it, then I have to do it. Like, why can't you just help me? Why do I have to ask? And it's just, your partner is who they are. Maybe they're a little more oblivious. Maybe they don't see all of the little details that you do because you're Virgo. Maybe your partner is a little more wishy-washy. And it's just who they are, and they don't mind helping, they just need you to ask, So the structure duality would be to hold control of yourself, breathe, and if you see it needs to get done and you're doing something else, just go to that person and say, hey, I'm in the middle of doing this, but this really needs to get done, and I'd appreciate it if, what you're doing is not important or fundamental or time sensitive, if you could stop what you're doing and just help me out real quick so that my nerves don't end up shot, because you know how I am, and I overstress and I freak out, and I don't feel like going there today. I'd greatly appreciate your help. And they'd be like, of course. Sure, absolutely. Or they'll say, give me 5 minutes, I'll wrap this up and I can absolutely do that. Is there anything else that you need done? Like, give me a honey to-do list. And let your partner do for you and appreciate you and look at you as strong because you are structured and in control of yourself, versus them being afraid to go into the same room as you because, you might yell at them for something not done, and they start to get wishy-washy or avoidant or distracted because they're trying to avoid you. You know what I mean? So be aware of your childhood wound triggers, especially when it comes to people you feel very deeply and closely connected to in soul. Okay, people that you feel like you've known forever. Keep it in mind, because that's going to be a big thing for you in April in achieving what is essentially your highest good vision or your worst case scenario in the long term, right? You're either going to create long-term happiness and stability or a long-term moment in the future where everything kind of crashes down around you and falls apart, or you're miserable, right? Because when you have a tyrannical ruler, there tends to be mutiny. So keep that in mind. Who you choose to be today determines the vision that you're holding coming true at a future date. Do you want to be loved or feared? That's April. For May, Virgo, I shuffled the shit out of the cards and your milestone popped back out as the Emperor. So structure versus tyranny. Now, I'm seeing this two ways. It came out with the Queen of Cups, the Five of Cups, and the Four of Swords. This came out for me in two ways. If you went the route of tyranny last month and continue the route of tyranny this month, you may be feeling pangs of jealousy, fear that someone might step on your territory, people that you are possessive of, whether it's a partner or a best friend or a position at work that you were shooting for. Like, if you went the route of tyranny, you're going to be jealous and clingy and potentially trying to really hold on to someone to where you might be emotionally suffocating. You may be fearing loss, being pessimistic with the Five of Cups, and seriously need a break. Like, you need a rest and you need a break. Hardcore. Reset time. If you went the route of structure, you would be in a very light Queen of Cups energy where you know that your partner loves you beyond exception, or that your friends appreciate you beyond exception, that you are an irreplaceable, valued person who has so much love to give that you wouldn't have a single doubt in your mind, right, when it comes to you and your partner, or you and your friends, or you in a position at work that you're going for, right? There would not be a doubt in your mind that you are the keeper of those things. You are the glue versus the chisel, so you're an irreplaceable, beautiful element that others are honored, right? That they are honored to be with you. The Five of Cups and the Four of Swords, in that case, you might become aware, right, in the light, if you're on the structure route, you might become aware of other people who are in fact jealous of you and maybe pointing out the shortcomings in your partner, or pointing out the shortcomings in your other friends, or pointing out the shortcomings of people at your work, and trying to kind of stir the shit pot in your head. And you're going to realize you need a break from them because they're just negative. They're negative and they're trying to put you in a toxic state of mind when you're in a state of maintaining control of the self. If you're maintaining control of self and you're dictating your life through the eyes of compassion, mercy, unconditional love, and being strong through the element of love, then anybody who would put doubt or fear or worry in your mind can fucking kick it. It's like being super happy with your partner and knowing your partner is super happy with you, and you have that friend who's like, oh, that new person started working at his job. Like, aren't you a little worried? Like, she's so attractive and she's smart. Like, you're not worried at all? Like, that friend can go fuck off and not be your friend for a while. Like, you might need a break from them because you didn't have any thoughts about your partner and being worried, because you know who you are to them and they know who they are to you, and there's value between you, and that person would be trying to degrade it. So be aware. In May, there's two ways that energy could have gone, depending on what you've chosen last month and continue to choose this month, about maintaining control and keeping your circle of trusted individuals close because you trust them with your energy and positive, empowering communications, people that reciprocate the kind of energy that you put out versus people that would try and tamper with your peace. Okay? If you have any peace tamperers, you just might not need to answer their phone calls for a while and not catch up with them. Like, let them go be negative Nancy's somewhere else. That's May. For June, your milestone card is a specific holy arcana that is special to this deck. So I'm going to read some of it for you because the duality is embrace versus release. And it says, the all depicts an infinite field of spirit manifesting a never-ending spiral creation of holy temples representing the infinite ways of appreciating and honoring spirit. The planets are aligned along this vortex pillar as well, depicting the celestial chakras as we comprehend them. This card is tethered on the tree of life, which represents knowledge, the bridge between idea and what we call reality. It is the only true measure of how we may come to know and understand God. When drawn in a reading, the all describes that in essence, anything can happen. There are an infinite amount of subjects to learn. There are an infinite number of pathways to explore. And while we may be limited, our souls and the spirit they emerge from are eternal. Thus, this card represents an opportunity to compassionately embrace a lesson we are learning or let go and let flow. Okay, depending on the orientation of the card. With that said, I think no matter which of the two paths you are on in April and May, that the Virgoian energy come June recognizes when they have to move forward with the Six of Swords. I feel like with the Three of Coins, you feel contracted and or obligated to certain things. You have certain soul contracts that you need to prioritize in spirit. That it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or says, like you know what you're committed to and who you're committed to. I think you're mentally moving forward and beyond those negative Nancy type people. I think you realize they're fucking troublemakers, regardless. Because to be fair, just because they were mentioned in May doesn't mean they weren't around in April and already filling your head with shit. Right? Planting seeds of destruction and chaos in you. So I feel like when you let certain energies, people go and embrace what you know in soul that you are committed to, that the cup starts to overflow with the Ace of Cups. I think you get back into your best version of self regardless. I think you feel more yourself and happy with who you are and how you're interacting with the people that you care about the most. I think that you're seeing a better outcome. I think that you're more confident in the choices that you're making and the steps that you're taking in the direction that you're doing it, what you're putting in an effort towards, what you're building. And I think that it feels very good to self-approve again, especially if you were dealing with people that had a fucking negative opinion about everything and everyone that you feel committed in soul to. Like, those individuals needed a fucking reality check. And your karmic contract, whatever it was with them, is fucking done. That contract is over. Like, you are no longer obligated or feel like you need to keep them in your life for whatever reason, because they are interference. Okay? And I think you feel a lot more free, like yourself, more in flow, and able to embrace the reality around you by releasing what was toxic or no longer serving your highest good and what you were choosing to create. All right, that is the energy of June. I feel like there's definitely a return to self, a return to structure, and a return to flow. That's June. For July, your milestone card is the Light. It's another Holy Arcana, okay? The duality is reveal versus conceal. We got the Tower, the Queen of Cups in the reverse, and the Sun. So before I get into the clarity cards, let me read to you the Light, okay? Because it's the milestone of the month, the overall energy. The Light represents the formless, shapeless, unknowable, and undefinable source from which the entire tree of life emerges. It is beyond comprehension and serves as a reminder that no matter what we think we know nothing at all. When drawing the light in a reading, it speaks to the revealing and illuminating of something that is hidden. This is a total illumination, a lifting of the veil in order to vividly clarify something previously murky or confusing. Further, this is the creative light, and so describes that this illuminating power may encompass a new illuminating solution as well. This creative power is infinite and is a reminder that Spirit is always with you. I'm not gonna lie, Virgo. We're talking about a reveal here. Okay, something that was previously concealed becoming revealed. As soon as I saw the Tower with the Queen of Cups in the reverse, I couldn't help but think, especially because I was giving the analogy of like a friend who was stirring the shit pot and trying to get you, almost in like a fight with your partner. That was the metaphor that I used, the example. For some of you, that may actually be a very real scenario that was going on in June. And I can't help but see these cards and feel like maybe the reason why your quote-unquote friend was trying to get you to fight with your partner is because they had an interest in your partner. I don't see any cheating cards between this month and the last, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't some foul or shady or sus shit going on. Especially if you were like a tyrannical person earlier in the year, and you had a partner, like maybe your friend ended up being a very consoling voice for your partner, and they ended up getting close. Like, be aware if you went the dark route. Be aware if you went the dark route. Because you chose the dark route despite this warning, right? This insight, foresight with this reading. You may still be the only one for your partner with the Sun card here, if that's the case. If you went the light route, you may realize just how absolutely fucking jealous or psycho crazy whoever it was that you let go is. You may have a rude awakening seeing their true colors when you cut them out and don't have time for them anymore. Right? If you went the light route, I don't think your partner was unfaithful at all. Let me make that clear. But whoever you were dealing with, who was that negative Nancy person, may absolutely try and go out of their way to sabotage you if you didn't feed into their shadow. Whether that's in your personal life or your work life, like whoever was trying to be your friend, they were someone who keeps their enemies closer, and they viewed you as a threat, and they were keeping you close, and when you pulled away, their true colors came out. Okay. Something's revealed, big time. and it's revelation, and it's a very humbling experience, to say the least. You may realize just how fucking jealous someone is of you and wants what you have. Like, someone wants what you have. They look at you like you have the perfect life and they want it. You may also, depending on what the circumstances, potentially lose someone who was exceptionally loving and supportive of you, who was a light in your life, okay? On a completely different note, you may realize, to be completely fair, if we hit the opposite end of the spectrum and you were dealing with a negative Nancy who was maybe warning you about your partner or warning you about this person at work, and you flipped out on them and whatever, and called them a liar or cut them off because they're just negative, and they were actually telling you the truth, you might have the truth that they were warning you about revealed and have a completely ego-shattering moment and realize you lost somebody that cared about you a lot and was being honest with you and trying to help you the whole time and trying not to push you because, you know, they know how you are and you make your own decisions and, you know, you choose what you want to choose. You see what you want to see. If you want to believe something is perfect, you're not going to believe them when they tell you, you know, something isn't. Not going to lie, Virgo, that's a lot of fucking drama. Either way, you are going to be crystal clear by the end of July. It might be a seriously emotional month for you, but it's one of those months where you'd rather know than not. So keep it in mind, because whoever the true devil is, metaphorically speaking, whoever the true devil is that you've been dealing with, you will see the devil for who they are. You will absolutely know who the devil is. There won't be a doubt. That will be revealed to you in July, regardless of circumstance. You may, with the Sun card, need to reconnect a burnt bridge. You may need to go back and repair a burnt bridge for some of you. Because there's definitely a humbling that comes in July. In August, your milestone is the Hermit. It is a Virgoian card. The duality is meditation versus isolation. It comes out with the Empress, the Four of Coins, and the Emperor. So, with the Hermit card, you may need some time to be in your own energy, away from other people, society, community, in general. You might need some serious space. If people are aligned with your energy and you feel good about it, like, you'll welcome them in. If you're in alignment, right, with your own energy and you're taking time to just relax and separate from other people's erratic energy, you'll welcome in people that bring a calming sense of peace to you, and not forcefully isolate yourself from everyone. The shadow of this would be to, in fact, isolate yourself from everyone and shut everyone out, regardless of their intention or purpose to be there for you or not. Know who is in your corner and allow them to be in your corner in August. It does come out with the Empress, the Four of Coins, and the Emperor. So we have the highest of the high, the Emperor and the Empress in the same month, with the Four of Coins in the middle. And this is about holding yourself together. The Four of Coins is about maintaining control of your reality, of your relationships that you value, and being able to understand what you truly deserve and want, and what to do in order to create that for yourself. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you were dealing with someone you thought you could trust before, and you were open with them and believed in them, and then all of a sudden, shit hit the fan and they were not who you thought they were, right? And you're like, holy shit. And you decide that you want to manifest a dynamic with someone or reconnect, right? Because we were talking about rekindling something, a bridge that you've burnt or was burnt, going back and mending a burnt bridge. Maybe you actually want something you had prior. Take it how it resonates. You could want something new altogether or realize the value of something that you had prior. And understanding that in order to achieve that you have to bring your best version to the table. If you want and deserve, if you feel you deserve an honest, reliable, considerate partner, then what actions would you need to take to maintain a relationship with an honest, vulnerable, considerate partner? What aspects of the self did you fall short in before that if you want the best, you can't allow yourself to fall short in anymore, right? If you want a specific type of person, then you have to match their energy. If you want a hardworking person, then you need to be able to work hard. If you want a considerate person, then you need to consider them. If you want an honest person, then you need to be honest with them. If you want a loyal person, then you need to be loyal with them. You have to be, in order to maintain a dynamic with someone, you have to take on their most positive attributes, the attributes that you desire from them. You have to embody yourself. For August, I think you are very much realizing that whatever shortcomings or flaws you had, you absolutely need to get control over them so that they're not controlling you. Because when they control you, you get blindsided. And I don't think Virgo likes being blindsided. We already talked about how Virgo does not like unknowns. Virgo likes to know and be clear and be sure about what they're getting into and who they're dealing with. And so I would strongly recommend in August to be open to embracing yourself in a higher light and maintain control of your reality by being your best possible version and not allowing your shadows or your demons or your wounds or your history or whatever to interfere with what it is you want to create in the future. Your past has no place in your future. Your pain has no place in an ideal reality that you want to create that is peaceful. You can't bring your chaos with you and expect stability. Make sense? That's August. In September, we got the Wheel of Flow card, and that was as your milestone, and it flew out in the reverse. It's fortune versus misfortune. The Wheel of Flow is the Wheel of Fortune in the deck. And it's fortune versus misfortune. And we've got the Ten of Swords with the King of Cups and the Five of Coins. I can't help but feel like this is overwhelmingly a message for Virgo masculines or those with masculines with significant Virgoian placements, okay? So take it as it resonates, because it's still a general message for everybody. I'm just getting strong masculine Virgo energy. The Wheel of Flow in the reverse is about embracing and accepting a reality for what it is. In the upright, it's about the creation of fortune and things going in your favor. And in the reverse, it's about accepting things are the way they are. And I couldn't help but feeling as if it was karma. Karma for a betrayal to someone who was a master of emotional control, who felt abandoned by you. Because maybe you were not emotionally open or vulnerable and closed off and betrayed them. This is like that energy of not getting what you want, especially because you got really clear on it last month. Like you finally were clear on what you want and what to do and how to be in order to maintain it, and not being able to receive it because you have karmic debt to pay. It would be like, I'll give an example. It would be like being with your ideal partner and cheating on them, thinking you got away with it, and they ended up leaving you anyway. For different reasons, right? Only to realize you want that person back and know how to treat them now. But the universe is kind of putting its foot in the doors, like, nope, you can't open it. Because you owe a karmic debt for cheating on them. And you haven't come clean about it, right? It's like the universe is forcing you to do without because of a karmic betrayal or debt owed to someone who did not deserve it. Like, you might have blamed them for the reason why you cheated. Oh, well, they're not this enough or they're not that enough, and I don't feel guilty, so, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not hurting them. They don't know. But just because they didn't know doesn't mean the universe doesn't know, doesn't mean source, creator, your higher self doesn't know. Subconsciously, there's a need for punishment for what you did, whether they know it or not. You may, if this is the case, if it's that kind of scenario, right, take it as it resonates. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but you know what I mean? You committed a wrong against someone who didn't fucking deserve it, and now that you're trying to get that person back into your life, you have to right a wrong. Like, another one would be like talking mad shit on someone when you were in fact in the wrong, and then realizing you were in the wrong and trying to get back in good graces with that person, and you had talked all this shit on them. And maybe you never cleared that shit up with the people that you talked shit on them to, and admitted that you were wrong to those people. And those people are still looking at the person you're trying to reconcile with visceral eyes. Well, how can you move back to the person you want to if the people that you confided in and were bitching about to, still looking at them cross-eyed? Because for that person to come back in your life, the person that you lost, and be around those people that you were bitching to about them would make it really awkward. The person who didn't deserve to be bitched about is going to be getting weird, awkward, tense energy from these other people and not know why they're giving them weird looks, or why they're nasty, or saying weird things, or with a tone like they're not going to understand. And it's because you spent a lot of time bitching about them. So until the wrong is righted, you won't be allowed to move forward. And you're going to have to accept the reality for what it is. King of Cups means you have to be vulnerable and mature about what feels right, despite the fact that it makes you look like someone who was in the wrong. Ten of Swords, you betrayed yourself. You betrayed yourself by acting in a way that was not acceptable to your own spirit. Five of Coins, that you would have abandoned yourself, your best self, and not rectified it. See, Virgo is in fact a sign of perfection. And so if you have strong Virgoian placements, Virgo South Node, like this is a you do not pass go, you do not collect $200. You will go to jail and stay in jail until you roll yourself out. Until you make it right. Or until you have suffered enough equivalent to the betrayal or wrong that you committed. Because it's one or the other. You don't have to come clean, but you will absolutely suffer the karmic debt in equal amount. So if this person would have been extremely hurt by what you did, and you know how wrong you are, you will subconsciously punish yourself in manifestation within your own energy, knowing you were wrong and didn't right it. You will suffer for as long as you feel is right, that you deserve to suffer or be without this person because of what wrong was committed. And that can go for any dynamic that you have. Romantic partner, friendship, work dynamic, or otherwise. So keep that in mind for September. If something is being kept from you and you're being forced to accept a really that sucks situation because you were so clear about how you wanted to move forward and something said nope, then that's your cue to right a wrong. Or deal with the fact that you have to wait because you're dealing with karmic punishment for what you did. And refuse to right. Okay? That's September. In October, we have the Hermit card again with the Justice card this time, balance. And the dualities are meditation and justice versus isolation and corruption. I think the more you are separated from the person you feel you are meant to make amends with, the more that it's kept from you, and the more you feel like you're suffering for it or are being punished, right? The longer you're in that energy, and the more time you have by yourself to think about it, the more pulled you are to bring justice to the situation, revealing the truth. Because the Justice card, Lady Justice, she has a huge sword of truth behind her. And she's holding these scales, right? The scales of Alpha and Omega, the soul and the feather. And the soul cannot weigh more than the feather in order for you to not punish yourself. Feeling bad about things lowers your vibration. Feeling guilty lowers your vibration, and a low vibration manifests a low manifestation of experience. That's the punishment, right, that we inflict on ourselves via our own energy. So the more you're by yourself and thinking about things, the more drawn you are to correct wrongs and take the weight off your soul by being honest. Otherwise, the duality, you will absolutely remain isolated because of the corruption that you created, that you participated in corrupt actions or choices, that you validated wrong behavior, and it wasn't warranted, right? The Queen of Wands with the Strength card and the Five of Coins, your soul absolutely does want what it wants. Queen of Wands. You want to receive what you deserve to receive. Your soul knows what you deserve to receive. In a healed state, right? In a healed state where your soul is as light as a feather. Your soul knows what it deserves to receive when you are as light as a feather. And you have to be extremely faith-filled, trusting in God, trusting in spirit, trusting in your angels, trusting in whatever it is that you believe in that's bigger than yourself in order to receive it. Because you're going to need to quiet your ego and your pride and admit the wrongs. The feminine on the card is quieting the lion, and the lion represents the egoic mind and the pride within the self that has a hard time admitting it was wrong or is in the wrong. Again, with the Five of Coins energy, because either you're going to feel left out in the cold and isolated, or you're going to right the wrongs and be strong and get what you deserve from the person you left abandoned, who felt like you abandoned them, that you didn't grow with them or consider them, or that they had to leave you behind for whatever reason. And to be fair, if you're on the receiving end of this, Virgo, especially if you're a feminine energy, because there are 3 feminines on the cards, the clarity cards, with a masculine on the major milestone card, you may have to quiet your own ego, because I think you really did care a lot about this person or desire this person in spirit and feel like they abandoned you. And in love, right? In spirit or in the reality. Maybe you already intuitively knew it. And it's confirmation for you about where they were energetically aligned. And now you're being put in a position of compassion and mercy versus your own hurt ego and pride. Will you allow the scales to balance, or will the punishment continue? And if someone is trying to rectify something and being honest and vulnerable and willing to right a wrong, and you're not willing to forgive, understand, if your soul does truly desire them, that you will end up punishing yourself, holding on to the pain versus the forgiveness. So October is a month about truth, holding the best possible scenarios in mind, and knowing that that can be created if that's what you want moving forward, to allow justice to take place, and to remember who you are as an individual, and that whatever occurred in the past doesn't take away from who you are or what you bring to the table, regardless of what side you're on. All right, that is October. In November, we have a Holy Arcana, the Truth, whose duality is speak versus silence. And it comes out with the Knight of Wands, the Six of Cups, and the Nine of Wands. So because this is a special arcana specifically for this deck, I'm going to read it to you, okay? It says, the truth represents the fundamental truth which unifies and connects all things in creation. The infinite sea of possibilities from which all manifestations, even light, emerges. This is simply the concept of infinity. However, the concept of infinity only exists in the presence of the awareness of it. The relationship between consciousness and infinity is what allows for contemplation of the ultimate and supreme truth above all truths. The appearance of the truth in a reading is a call to bring awareness to what is true, and even to bring a voice to this truth, at the very least, so that you may know it to be true yourself. The key, speak, indicates that in order for the truth to be heard, it must be spoken and shared. It is in the resonance of the truth shared with others that we receive the power of the word. If you didn't admit the truth in September, or didn't receive the truth from someone just in September, right? Because it can go both ways. I read it from the perspective of Virgo, but it could definitely be something that you're dealing with someone else, right? Not necessarily within yourself. If you didn't speak or receive the truth in October, you may most definitely speak or receive the truth in November. To stay silent would be a mistake. To speak, when the speak card talks about the truth capital T, the truth is the truth and can't be changed. It is an absolute. When we speak the truth, the whole truth, so help you God, it resonates with the person who hears it as truth. This is how people can know if you're lying or know if something is being left out. Because it's either the truth and the whole truth or it's not. If the whole truth is admitting a wrong committed and how they feel about you in soul, and how much they want to right the chance to right the wrong. Expressing the whole truth, the wrong committed, the feelings about, and the writing of it will resonate with someone who is in truth, capital T, meant to be with you. Second, third, fourth chances can be given to someone who admits the truth. Because to admit the truth and the whole truth is an acknowledgement of self being unwilling to make the same mistake twice. God help them if they do. It needs to be spoken. Your actions will confirm the truth you speak after, because your actions are also a form of communication. This goes for other people if you're dealing with other people, right? Their actions will also prove to be the truth. the Knight of Wands with the Six of Cups and the Nine of Wands. This is a fuck it, I'm just going to say it energy with the Knight of Wands. Fuck it, I'm just going to say it. Very impulsive. The time is now, blurt it out type energy. It's also a very passionate energy. The Six of Cups denotes a sacred soulmate or divine counterpart, someone that you have known for lifetimes and feel very deeply connected to in soul. That you feel as if you've really known them forever. Even if you still have more to learn about them. You know, you can't help that feeling of knowing them before. The Six of Cups. It's a past life, reoccurring soul contract or relationship that is very deeply felt and bonded and healing with each other. And the Nine of Wands is a feeling of not being able to take it anymore. Being on the last leg, last straw, last chance. Like, this is it. It's now or never. Like, say it now or forever hold your peace. It's pressure. The Nine of Wands is spiritual pressure. It's also the Wounded Warrior card, which means, you know, you have to decide whether or not you're going to listen to spirit, listen to your gut, listen to your instincts, heed the synchronicities and reassurances around you that are propelling you forward to lighten the load, or if you would continue to deny them and let your wounding take hold and feel further oppressed by it. I think the idea or the pressure of losing something meant for you is really intense. Whether you're feeling it or someone else in your reality is towards you. But it does resonate the whole month with truth. That is the whole purpose. So if you want something or someone, make sure you're honest through and through, the whole bit. The whole bit. Don't leave anything out. No regrets. Because chances are either you're going to lose it completely or you're going to have to keep revisiting it until you do. Because 99% is not 100. You want the ultimate manifestation, the dream come true, then you got to come at it with 100. Your whole best self has to come forward. So that's November. For December, we have the Hanged Man as your milestone. It is surrender versus rejection. That's the duality. Comes out with the Hermit card in reverse, the King of Cups, and the Seven of Cups clarified by the Queen of Wands. Surrender versus rejection is about surrendering to your highest self, your highest, best version, or rejecting it and reverting back to your old self. So this is the challenge, okay? The depiction on the card shows the snake at the bottom in all of the colors of the chakras, the 7 chakras, and it's talking about the lower vibration of each chakra as if they were closed, right? Fear for the root chakra, guilt or pity or self-doubt for the sacral chakra, insecurities, incapability, or self-worth issues for the solar plexus chakra, denial, self-loathing, regret, sadness, grief, or anger for the heart chakra, lies and excuses for the throat chakra, worst case scenarios, buying into illusions, for the third eye chakra, and then ego and pride for the crown chakra. The snake is on the ground by the hanged man's head. And the hanged man's eyes are closed. He refuses to acknowledge those darker shadow feelings. The light of those chakras is the way through, and it is through what is essentially Christ consciousness. Reminds me of that song by Crowder, Crushing Snakes. You can't give your power to the feelings or the emotions or the thoughts that are tied to snakes. Energy snakes inside the self. You have to be able to close your eyes to them and ignore them and be inside your best light, your best self. Trusting yourself to be your best version. Trust being the light of the root chakra. You have to be able to focus on your joy, creating joy with the sacral chakra. You need to be confident in yourself and have the courage to move forward with what you know you are capable of doing and choosing the best choice, being confident in choosing the best choice with the solar plexus chakra. You have to be able to love yourself enough to love others the way they deserve to be loved with the heart chakra. You have to be able to remain honest and in the truth, capital T. No excuses, no reasons, no conditions, expectations or judgments with the throat chakra. You have to be able to see the best possible outcome and remain clear that if you can see the best possible outcome, then you can, in fact, create it so long as you maintain that vision with the third eye chakra. You have to have compassion for yourself and others, and mercy for yourself and others. That if you choose your highest self, your best self, to be in the consciousness of Christ consciousness, to embrace the light of those 7 energy chakras within the self, that if you can embrace your light, that the divine would not have you suffer, that you would not be punished, to maintain gratitude for the entire journey that you've been through in order to become who you are, most whole within yourself, that you are a version of yourself that you can enjoy being and appreciate being and are thankful for being. Because the version of you that you've morphed into over the course of the year is a much more beautiful, loved and appreciated version of yourself. It's a more trusted version of yourself. Other people that matter to you in soul can actually feel in alignment with you. Like there is a future versus there not being one. Rejecting yourself and going back into shadow would lose that. The Hermit in reverse. This might be completely out of character for you, Virgo. It might shock the shit out of some people. Especially when you're handling it with a very mature and adult soul. This is not a childish soul who plays with snakes and gets bit. This is a mature adult who doesn't fuck with snakes. This is a mature soul. This is the embodiment, right? That you would have your emotions, the dark ones, under complete control, King of Cups, so that you can present a full cup glowing with your light, that you would be able to give your best emotions, that you would be able to share your greatest feelings with someone, especially if they're a little confused as to what to do. You might be a little confused as to what to do, to be fair, with the Seven of Cups. It's clarified by the Queen of Wands. You're either dealing with a fire sign, someone whose heart's very passionate and filled with desire of manifestation, filled with spirit, receiving spirit, yours or someone else's. It might be very confusing for you or foggy for you or them. It might be difficult for you to pin this consciousness down, but you can't fear rejection. Even if you are being rejected, you can't fear the rejection. You can't give up and start to doubt. You can't think you're not worthy of them. No, your old version might not be worthy of them, but your new version is. And so if they're still confused by you, by this new version of you, they don't know if it's going to stick or not, then you just simply have to maintain the new version of self that you are and surrender to it, to being it completely, and rejecting your old self completely so that you can start to rebuild a relationship or emotional connection with someone who essentially felt washed up on shore by your old version. Especially if they were left feeling shipwrecked, or you were left feeling shipwrecked. Like maybe you guys were on the ship together and going to your dream, and then all of a sudden they felt shipwrecked and washed up on shore. You felt shipwrecked and washed up on shore. And the whole dream and direction you guys were heading in just kind of collapsed in the storm. You got to trust and have faith that what is meant for you is meant for you. And if your best aligned version is what you're meant to be, in order to align with your best aligned person and your best aligned vision, your best daydreams, your best intentions, your goals, like if it's all something that you can visualize and hold on to, then you can create it. It's been an extremely challenging year for you. And whether or not you decide at the end to come out a better person and stick to it is entirely up to you. Because otherwise you went through all that shit for a whole bunch of nothing. If you can't commit and surrender to being your best version by the end of this year, you're going to continue in the storm. That's just the mirror. You got to calm the storm, calm the snakes within yourself, and press forward in the light. Get back in touch with your soul, get back in touch with spirit, spirituality. Open your mind. Open your heart to growing. Truly evolving. We go through many evolutions in life until we reach the version of ourself that is absolutely optimal for our dreams to become a reality. We either let ourselves evolve or we get attached to our lower versions. The free will choice is always up to us. But our soul will always know the way. So I hope the foresight helps in advance knowing, because if you know this stuff in advance, then you can choose your best choices sooner than later. You can change the outcome if you don't like it. It's within your control. You can choose your best version today and stick to it, hell or high water. Make it a vow to yourself right now to never succumb to the lower vibrations and to be honest now instead of going through all the shit where you lose and suffer. You can choose better now. I hope the foresight helps. I hope the insight helps remind you on a month-to-month basis, and I hope the hindsight serves you 20/20 as you go back throughout the year and re-listen to different months. My love and support is absolutely with you always. Absolutely. Remember to love each other, and most importantly, love who you are. Take care.